Good evening, everybody. So, you're from town, I didn't know that.
I'm from Fort.
Not Ken Stiles from Midland relation?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, could be, you never know. Anyway, I was here for the opening of this exhibit. I thought it was really, really cool. And I'm not like a lifetime art person. When I became mayor, I thought art was a framed picture of Yankee Stadium. But I've come to really appreciate everything that the arts mean to Woodbridge. This is a wonderful arts town. We have this great resource here. This is the hidden treasure of Woodbridge, the Barron Arts Center, led by Cynthia and Brandon. We have murals everywhere. We have our kids involved in arts. We have so many things going on in town. Concerts, 72 free concerts this year. Tonight's one over. I'm leaving as soon as I leave here and going over to Parker Press for the final Wednesday show. There's 2 more in October. Music, arts, the all different things that we have. Poetry readings here. I missed the one Saturday, but I made the one last month. Wonderful, just wonderful. So as long as you keep supporting the arts, we will. So thank you for being here tonight, and thank you for supporting everything that the Barron Arts Center does. I'd like to present Grant Stiles with a Mayor's Award for Community Involvement and Civic Purpose. Grant Stiles of Stiles Honey. Grant Stiles, lifelong resident. I should have read this ahead of time. I would have known you're from Forks. Certified beekeeper, founder of Stiles Apiaries and Honey, 859 King George Road. Where's that exactly?
Close to the Dunkin' Donuts on New Brunswick Avenue in King George.
Oh, okay. I just went to Elmer's Palace. I just passed by there. So the old dance school right around there?
Yes, right across the street.
Okay, cool. The Baptist church is there too, right?
Behind us.
Okay, cool. All right. Served as the New Jersey State Apiarist. Did I say that right?
Yes.
For 10 years. So there's 9 million people in New Jersey, and only one person can be the official state apiarist, and it's this guy. That's pretty cool. He displayed the best qualities of community involvement and public service through an active outreach devoted to educating the community on the struggle of the global bee population. And whereas Grant Stiles, nationally known, renowned bookkeeper and lecturer, dedicated to preserving the beekeeping industry and the 2.5 million honeybee colonies throughout the nation, stands in the forefront of the effort to save bees and the national food supply. This is a nationally known person from Woodbridge, living here. How long have you lived here? You grew up here?
About 30 years.
So you're like 35, so you were up here.
Yes.
All right, so that makes sense. I think this is cool. This is just cool that we have this here, that we have Grant Stiles here. I think it's just really cool. I can't say anything else. So congratulations.
Thank you.
And
Appreciate it.
I'll present this to you. And then I'll take it back. You don't want to have this hanging around you when you're doing your lecture. So I want to again thank Cynthia and Brandon for all they do. This display was, I couldn't get enough of these. Yeah, it was really, really good. Everything was filled. There were so many pieces of art here. I took a picture of all of them, put them on Facebook, got a lot of comments. Really, really good stuff happening in Woodbridge Township. So thank you all for being here.
All right. Thank you, Mayor McCormick, for that greatly appreciated recognition in Woodbridge. I am Grant Stiles of Stiles Apiaries, otherwise known as Stiles Honey. We are located in Fords, New Jersey, about a half a block from the Dunkin' Donuts on King George Road and New Brunswick Avenue. We have a little store there. They're very diversified. We have 2 packing facilities in Fords. One is located there, and the other larger one is over by, maybe some of you would remember where the Fords Mill used to be, over by the Quick Check on New Brunswick Avenue. We operate approximately 10,000 colonies of bees. We are a migratory operation that travels north and south through North Carolina to New Jersey and upstate New York. Very active in the beekeeping industry here in New Jersey as well as nationally. And I'm going to explain more of that further on. So, like I said, we're a migratory commercial beekeeping operation. A nuke producer is a person who sells bees for beginner beekeepers. It's basically a miniature hive of bees. It's like a starter kit. So we are the state's largest producer of nukes, and they are sold generally in April, about the middle of April, and they go all over the state. Obviously, we are the largest beekeeper in the state of New Jersey, as well as one of the largest on the East Coast. We currently have about 18 full-time employees that are located here in Fords. They work with our packing, equipment sales, bottle sales, etc. And then we also have another 12 individuals that are on visas that migrate north and south with the bees. So in total, we have almost 30 employees when we're at our peak. We are a Mann Lake dealer. Mann Lake is a huge, probably the country's largest bee supply dealership or manufacturer in the country. So we are a dealer for them, and we sell everything to do with bees to the people that are in the hobby of beekeeping, or even sideline or even professional level beekeeping. We are a very large honey packer here in New Jersey. We pack approximately 5 million pounds of honey a year, which goes into your local markets, and we do a lot of co-pack work for individuals that have other businesses that will pack under their label, basically, or they have a specialized product that we're managing and pack their product for them also. So that's what a co-packer does. We specialize in infused honeys. You all may know the brand Mike's Hot Honey. It's a chili infused honey. We are the co-packer for that product. Little good news is we're going to be launching in October 5 new products, and there'll be a great hot honey coming out with that. We also do beekeeping classes for people that are interested in learning about bees. Generally, people have bees already and they need some further education. I do a lot of short course work around the state educating beginning beekeepers. Our classes with my friend Tim Schuler are more of an advanced level, the next level beekeeping classes, which aid people that are really already have bees to advance their skills. Okay. So obviously we're here to talk about honeybees. So the New Jersey passed some beekeeping laws to protect honeybees. These are that's the data on it, but basically what it tells you is that it is prohibited and illegal to kill any honeybee colony. So that protects honeybees, which is also the state insect. Okay. Natural threats to beekeepers and bees obviously are bears in the northern part of the state, but bears are becoming a problem even in southern parts of the state due to migration and movement by fish and wildlife. Bears basically get in a beehive and there isn't much left. Boo Boo is not a typical bear, and Winnie the Pooh, you know, they just want to eat honey, but bears like to eat the larval stages and the pupal stages. That's the grub stage of the bee. It's the developing bees. That's the most nutritious part in the beehive, and bears like to eat that, and the honey is just the dessert. Okay? And they bust everything. Obviously, weather and humans, and we'll talk a little bit more about the human impact to bees in the state. So here is a queen bee. She is surrounded by a harem of bees which clean her constantly, and the queen rules the beehive through pheromones. So the bees that are around her collect the pheromones and they pass it through the hive, and that's how her reign is basically controlled in the beehive, is through pheromones. And that, we can go into great length about that, but that's basically the way it works. She's the longest bee in the beehive. This is her abdomen. She's an egg-laying machine. She'll lay up to about 2,000 eggs a day, depending on the amount of food coming into the colony. Okay? Less food, less eggs. Less food, less energy, less production. She's not going to outlay what the bees are able to feed, basically. Okay? It's very difficult to see, but over here in these cells is the egg of the bee. Okay? That egg stays an egg for 3 days. You can see them here. They're all in there, but they're very hard to see. We describe it as a very small grain of rice. Okay? You can just kind of see like a shadow there. So that's what the queen lays. Stays an egg for about 3 days. Then it becomes a larva. These are nice, healthy, young larvae. Obviously, on the outer sides, you'll see smaller larvae, and then larger larvae, and then they'll go into the pupal stage, and it takes about 21 days from egg to adult. Okay? Here is another queen. Let me just back up here 1 second. No, that's not on that slide. So this is actually honey. This looks very similar to the pupal stage of the bee. It gets a capping like that, but it's very chocolate brown, coffee brown color in all the cells. Here is another queen. Okay, so that is actually honey. You'll have a brood circle, a pollen circle, and then the honey circle. That's the way the brood nest is constructed. The honeybees are the only bees in the planet that make a surplus of honey, hence the name honeybees. We are very fortunate that they produce more than they need. Okay, and that's why we're able to enjoy the only natural sweetener on the planet, known as, obviously, honey, right? Okay. These are very strong colonies of bees. This is actually where colonies like this is where we make honey production from, where we make nukes from. We split those colonies, give them new queens. It's basically an adoption process with the new queen. There's approximately 60,000 bees in a colony of bees like this. Okay, and obviously the majority of them, I'm going to back up one slide, all of these bees are workers. They are females. They're the ones that do all the work in the colony. They clean the hive, they collect all the food, just like your wives and all the ladies here. They defend the hive, they care for the hive, they take care of all the larvae, they do all the work. That's why they're called workers. And then the drones will have, they look similar to a queen sometimes. They're more fat and plump. They don't really have any role except to mate with virgin queens, and then they die. Hence the name drone. Okay? So guys, don't be a drone. They're very lazy. They have 2 big eyes so that they can see the virgin queens flying through the air. Honeybees live 4 to 6 weeks during the summer, 4 to 6 months during the winter. It's because of the lack of activity in the winter months. So this time of the year, the workers start to prepare themselves to go into the winter by increasing their fat bodies. Kind of like all wild animals eat, like bears, they eat a lot and store fat. Well, honeybees kind of do the same thing. So it's very important to have healthy colonies going into the winter with heavy fat bodies, so to speak. And the drones, they get kicked out of the beehive in the fall because they cannot feed themselves or take care of themselves. So the colony doesn't want individuals that are depleting the resources for surviving. And in the spring, the queen starts to lay drones again. Interesting about drones, not to get into a genetics class, They are haploid. They only have one gene. They do not have a father. They only have a mother and a grandfather. Okay? That's kind of confusing, right? Most species have two genes. They're diploid. Drones only have one. They only have the genetic structure of their mother. They do not come from a fertilized egg, where all the workers come from a fertilized egg. Okay? The queen can live up to about 3 years. Workers, I told you, live 4 to 6 weeks. So bees populate or reproduce, one, by laying eggs and brood and growing their colony, but in regards to expanding their territory and genetic structure, they do something called swarming. That's where your children basically swarm away from your house and create a home of their own. And that the oldest queen leaves, and then a big sector of the workers leave with that queen, find a new home, and then they start a new home someplace else, a new colony. This just happened to be in blueberry production. A grower of ours called and said, hey, I got this swarm of bees on my labor bus. What do I do? I said, well, don't use the bus, or put the windshield wipers on. And so they just sat there for about a half a day, and then those bees find a new location somewhere in a tree or your home, which you don't want that. And then they start a new colony. They start building the honeycombs, and they start laying the eggs and repopulating. That's the way honeybees reproduce, colony to colony. Okay? So those bees, when you see a swarm like that, will only generally be there no more than a day, and then they'll fly off. Very interesting how they locate a new home. They'll actually send out scouts, and the scouts go and find a cavity, dark, dry cavity, say a tree or your attic, and then they come back and they argue, and then they all make a decision and say, okay, let's go to the Ritz, or let's not go to the Ritz. And then they all get up in this big cloud. It's an amazing cloud. Like a black cloud going through the sky, but it's thousands and thousands of bees, and the scout bees zoom in and out of this cloud of bees, giving them direction. Go left, go right, here it is, etc. It's a big, huge process, but very efficient on how they do it. This is a typical swarm, what it looks like. And as beekeepers, we would just put a beehive box underneath that, shake them into the box, and now we've caught the swarm. Now we've just got richer, because now we got more bees. Okay? As beekeepers, we don't want our bees to swarm because it cuts down on our honey production, etc., etc. Okay? So there are 3 types of beekeepers, and actually this box is what that last swarm was shook into. Okay? So we just dump them in the box, and then they settle in, and that's their new home. So there's 3 types of beekeepers. There's hobbyists, generally up to 50 colonies of bees. There's sideliners, which make some form of income from honeybees, generally 50 to 300 colonies. And then commercial beekeepers, which there are only about 2,000 commercial beekeepers in the country. They're the ones that really do the bulk of pollination work in the country. They're ranging 300 plus colonies of bees. The further west you go into the Midwest, a small beekeeper typically is around 10,000 colonies, where that's on the East Coast a huge number of colonies for one individual, based on territory and availability of resources. That's the difference. Out west, large operations will run 20, 30, 40, 50,000 colonies of bees in multi-states. Okay? Problems facing the industry, obviously, are varroa mites, that is a tick-like pest, a louse-like pest, that sucks the fat bodies and moves viruses around in the colony of bees. Okay, very deadly to honeybees. Pesticides, insecticides, actually insecticides, fungicides, anything with a side, except a side effect, is pesticides. Okay? So insecticides, fungicides are very toxic to bees. And some fungicides, most fungicides were thought to never be harmful to bees because bees aren't fungal. They are insects. But what they do is they counteract with other chemicals in an operation, as well as the ones we use to control the varroa mite, and they become 10 times more toxic. And that affects the developing stages of the bees. Not necessarily does the fungicide affect the adult bee, it affects the developing bees. Okay, habitat loss due to farming and housing. There's no shortage of housing anywhere. So natural habitat is being lost every day. As well as viruses. This is very impactful. Bees have viruses, and the varroa mite actually causes the movement of viruses throughout the colony and kills colonies very, very rapidly. This was noted in CCD. Does anybody remember that? Colony collapse disorder. It probably goes back 15 years now. This was one of the major contributing factors to colony collapse disorder, CCD. Okay, the main purpose of, I got to give my mom some credit here. These are her flowers. My grandmother always had these. I think her seeds actually. They're spider plants, right? So actually a very good pollen source for bees, honeybees, bumblebees, all kinds of bees. So the main focus of honeybees and the movement of honeybees is for pollination purposes. So in the background here, it really is not the rainbow. These are blueberries down in Hamilton, New Jersey. We are number 5, I think, 4 or 5 in the production of blueberry production in the country. So bees are brought in for the pollination of the blueberry crop. You can see the bee here, obviously, pollinating the blueberry plant. It takes about 2 to 3 colonies of bees. Remember, there are about 60,000 bees in a beehive to pollinate per acre, to pollinate the blueberries. I believe we bring in approximately 12,000 colonies of bees to pollinate this crop. The largest pollination crop in the world is a migratory operation that moves to California right around the beginning of February every single year. That is almonds. It's the largest movement of bees in the world to pollinate almonds in California, and that crop alone requires about 2 million to 2.5 million colonies of bees. Basically, every commercial colony of bees in the country moves to California for that pollination crop. Okay? Without it, there are no nuts. Without honeybees, you probably have about 10% production on blueberries. It pollinates the fruit. The better the pollination, the larger the fruit. Okay? These are blackberries. A lot of blackberries are grown here in New Jersey really recently in the last 5 to 10 years. Tremendous amount of blackberries are grown in South Jersey, and this is also in Hamilton. Okay, that's a closer up of the blackberry plants. Okay, in the background is cranberries. I just read an article, we're number 3 in the country for cranberry pollination. Most cranberries that are produced in New Jersey are sold through Ocean Spray. So this is us actually moving bees out of cranberry pollination. They generally require about 3 colonies to the acre also. I believe in New Jersey there's approximately 5,000 to 6,000 colonies of bees that are moved for cranberry pollination. Okay, we talk about pollination. A lot of people say, oh, I'm going to plant some plants in my backyard. I'm going to get a lot of honey from those 5 plants that I grew in my backyard. Well, that didn't even amount to a droplet full, but every little bit counts. There's a lot of grains of sand on the beach, right? So every little bit counts. This is actually in Clara Barton. The mayor there actually went through and planted a lot of plants, and most of them, not all of them, are bee-friendly and pollinator-friendly plants. When I go there, my bank is right here, so I get to see these when I go. So you can see bees on them all the time. This was probably done about a month and a half ago. And it was crazy because bees were on them as the guys were planting the plants. So, I mean, not swarms. There was no swarm like the bus, but there was definitely honeybees on them. So that was nice. And it really does liven up the streets there. Okay. This was a video, but it's not working. So, well, on this video, you could see the bees flying and pollinating the spider plants. It's kind of neat. I don't know why that's not working. But anyway, we'll put the IT people on that. Okay, so bee transportation. A little fun fact, honeybees are the 2nd largest livestock that are transported in the United States. Bees are considered livestock. Number 1 is beef. Number 2, bees. And I don't remember which, they probably go back and forth, is poultry and hogs. So bees are actually transported more than poultry and hogs in the United States. Okay? And they're all done on flatbeds like this. This is one of our truck drivers. He works, he doesn't work for us. We hire him to transport bees to California for almonds, north and south, to move bees north and south in the spring and the fall. So we load those bees with bobcats. These are colonies of bees that are staged to go on the semis. Approximately 450 colonies of bees go on those semis. These are colonies that are on the truck getting ready to get the net. All the colonies, all the trucks get a big net put over them. It is very important that we try to keep the bees as cool as possible so that they don't overheat and die. So the bad part here is if you're going through DC and somebody doesn't know how to drive and creates an accident, and then the truck is behind in the traffic, and he's sitting there for 3 hours waiting for them to clean up the mess. Those bees are basically coming out of the colonies because they're extremely hot, and then they get stuck in the net and die. So it is very important that the trucks move to keep the wind on the colonies. Every once in a while you'll hear about a truck flipping over. One of the big ones was in the Tappan Zee Bridge area. That goes back, I don't know, maybe 20, 25 years ago. Basically what happens at that point, all the colonies are killed due to public safety, and it's a mess. You do not want to be in the mess. I'm a commercial guy, I'm good at what I do, but don't call me. It is a horrible, horrible event, and it's very, very sad, really, but it is not worth people getting stung up so bad, and you got to get the stuff off the road. So that's what they look like. We typically move bees, load bees always at night, because then all the bees are home. Okay, they fly out in the day and they come back. So we do this and we put the nets on just before the sun goes down. Also depends on temperature, rain, things like this. Cold temperatures we can move all day long because the bees are home. Raining is wonderful because the bees are home. It lets us use daylight to our advantage. Here's a truck getting ready to roll out, all strapped up and netted and ready to go. So here's a little bit about our business. Obviously, Styles Honey. We pack all kinds of honey. I'm not here to promote me or my brand. I'm here to educate you guys. We can be found obviously on the internet, as well as one of our local vendors, Wegmans, is a great business to work with. We sell beekeeping supplies of all kinds, everything to do with honeybees, from extractors to glass bottles, packaging equipment, etc. And I also talked about co-packing, where we private label for other people and other businesses. We do classes. This is a beginner class in June. There was about, I think, a dozen or so people right here in Ford's working with bees, learning everything to do to get started. This was actually in a novice level, so it's just one notch up above beginners. They were still pretty green. One of the most important things is the smoker that we use to make smoke to calm the bees down. Most people never learn how to light that in their career for some reason. I don't know how they light their fireplaces and barbecues, but they always seem to have difficulty lighting their smoker. So we teach them exactly how to do that. And a smoker can last several hours if it's lit correctly. So we have some upcoming events. On October 8th, you can go to Eventbrite or email us at info@StylesHoney on rendering beeswax. That's a kind of a hands-on class. And in November, we're going to talk about soap making and lip balms. And that's kind of a hands-on. And then we're going to be something we're very excited, which is going to be in Edison, is the Great Food Expo, October 21st and 22nd. It's at the Expo Center in Raritan Center there. I'd encourage everybody to come. That's open to the public. And we are actually at this show launching 5 new products. Some very, very nice products for cooking with honey and just all kinds of purposes for honey. So please come visit us there. And you can find more information on Eventbrite, or I'm not sure if it's on our website or not, but it should give you some information about that also. And then I want to just say thank you to my staff and friends, my family, customers, obviously the Barron Arts Center for the opportunity to be here tonight and to sponsor some awards for the art displays. And this is colonies of bees of honey production. That's my ugly face. It's not a Sasquatch. And this is actually honey on top of the boxes. Boxes are full of honey, and you can see in the back there's 5, 6 boxes of honey on those colonies in the back.